Cliff's numbers, yeah, it's more than likely that would take place. But that doesn't mean that, silver's worth $20 more or $20 less. In a market that's rigged every day with computers, you can place that price anywhere you want. I tell everybody, don't look at the price because, it'll give you a heart attack. The gyrations are going to be crazy. We've just scratched the surface with the slam from $50 to $35. I think, wait for $100 swings in the price of silver, up and down.
Okay. Are you concerned about confiscation at all regarding either gold or silver?
I am. It is not the conclusion of the Road to Ruta. On the Road to Ruta analysis, we go back to a gold and silver standard, and there is free coin mintage of your, they'll melt down your jewelry and give you a coin, and it's a true gold and silver standard, not a leveraged system. But in getting there, will Obama announce the confiscation of mining properties? Will he announce the confiscation of physical metal? Will he announce the confiscation of warehouse metal? I think it's more than likely that there will be a lot of announcements like that when gold and silver cut loose. Especially if it's as bad as I think, which is a total destruction of the fiat money system. I think because the government has known about this for so long and known it was coming for so long, they have made contingency plans. I believe the U.S. has more gold than anybody can even imagine. And they are prepared to turn it into coin, and they have silver as well, but just not as much. And they've been preparing for this since the mid-'70s, so there are mountains of gold eagle coins and coins we can use as our next currency because I do believe they have prepared for it. And, with the opening of the San Francisco Mint announced just recently, more and more signs are coming out that, this is kind of which way they are going.
Okay. Would you be a buyer of physical silver and gold at these levels?
At any level. I've tried to time the silver market for the last 10 years, and the only thing you can be, and once you realize that the banksters and the people who control the price of silver can put it at $0 or put it at $1 million in the same amount of keystrokes on a computer, you kind of don't think about, trying to buy right, because unless you're in the know, one of the banksters who are in the know, you won't know when a bottom is in. And usually when the bottom is in silver, there's no physical for you to buy. So yes, I'm a buyer at $35. I'll be a buyer at $10. I'll be a buyer at $100. I am any extra investment money I have, I'm going to go out and buy a couple coins, and that's a way to deal with this situation without losing your mind.
Okay. Would you suggest buying other countries' bullion in addition to ours, or would you just stick with one particular one? Would you be a buyer of coins versus bars? Well, what's your opinion on that?
It's interesting because it all depends on how the crash goes down. Because I live in the United States, I tend to buy U.S. silver eagles and gold eagles. And the reasoning for me is that because they are U.S. currency, they fall under the currency protections of counterfeiting. Whereas, a counterfeit 1 ounce Krugerrand would more fall along the lines of fraud. A counterfeit U.S. Gold Eagle would count along the lines of fraud as well as counterfeiting currency, which are stronger laws. Now, that's thinking too much. What I tend to tell people is stick to small denominations. They're harder to counterfeit. Buy one of those little digital scales. Always weigh your coins. And just stick with, I love the pre-1965 silver, U.S. coins because they're very small denominations, and what people tend to forget is that if, say, silver goes to $1,000 an ounce, you buy a 100-ounce bar, that's $100,000 that you're going to have to try to cash in, and there'll be fewer and fewer places that could handle the big bars. So if you stick to coins, 1-ounce coins, and the pre-1965 silver coins, that's where I tend. I don't have multi-billion dollars to throw at it. I wish I did. I would have ended this a long time ago. And it won't take much to end the silver game. Once the billionaires say, "Give me some silver so I can protect myself," that game is over.
Why aren't the billionaires and the very wealthy people doing exactly as you just stated? Why aren't they buying, tens of millions of dollars of gold and silver bullion as an investment?
Well, it's interesting. I think more and more are becoming aware, but when you think about it, if they do that, most of their investments are in different things that require the system to continue to function. So if you have a multimillionaire or multi-billionaire who owns a lot of companies and trades goods around the world and things like that, and he says, "Oh, I'm gonna end this silver manipulation game," he'll go buy all the silver and the rest of his wealth will be destroyed. So that might be part of it on the big scale. Warren Buffett went in and bought some. I do believe that Warren is part of the good guys. I think he was blackmailed into selling it. He is working with the good guys and at some point will turncoat on Goldman Sachs and say, we're done with you. His father was a gigantic gold bug who fought the banksters forever, and Warren, most of his career, except for the last couple of years, has fought the banksters. So I think his turncoat move after the first crash in 2008 is just a scam. I think he's trying to entice the banksters to do the same thing, lever themselves up again so we have another shot at taking them down.
Okay. Would you suggest buying more silver than gold right now, or more gold than silver right now? And what kind of ratios would you think that we're going to head to regarding gold and silver? 10 to 1, 3 to 1, 5 to 1, 20 to 1?
I would guess 1 to 5. I think silver is much more valuable than gold for various reasons. The first reason, there's a whole lot more above ground gold than there is silver, even in the reported figures. Now, there's also a lot of secret gold out there, above ground and below ground. I think gold is, every time the U.S. finds a gold mine on their property, they hide it, they put it in a military base. They're not going to let anybody touch it until after the crash. So I am heavily weighted towards silver. It's a more important metal in that not only is it money like gold, it's also the best conductor of electricity. It's used in so many things. Our lives would change if there was no silver available. And a lot of people were saying, $50 silver all this, manufacturing would stop and everybody would be hoarding silver and people wouldn't be able to make cell phones or computers. And we see that isn't true. You don't hear much about manufacturing of iPhone stopping because the price of silver went up to $50. It's used in such a small amount in every application that it's going to take a really high price for silver to stop the industrial demand.
Right. Well, just the other day, China announced that they're going to invest $10 billion into Europe for solar energy projects. And as you know, solar uses a tremendous amount of silver actually per weight, as other applications use. What do you think of that?
I don't know the specifics of that, but I would imagine there was something else going on in the background for China to put $10 billion into solar projects in Europe. There's a difference in China. when they announce something like that, there's usually something else going on in the background. They don't do it just to do it. They did it for a purpose. And
I think Germany's closing down their nuclear plants, aren't they? Isn't there talk?
Yeah. I did hear about that. You know, obviously with the Fukushima issues going on right now, that, you know, the whole nuclear complex, which was, you know, all the environmentalists were all excited, you know, a year ago about the nuclear complex. I think there's troubles. You know, there's a perception problem right now. As long as nothing happens in the U.S., it'll fade away. But I do think there are things that can easily happen in the U.S. So all it takes is one more, either the information about Fukushima comes out that it was and is much worse than people said, or a new accident, and the whole nuclear, you know, complex is in deep trouble.
Okay, well, thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, Dr. Steve. Thank you, Bix. What we'll do is we'll just have a quick 2-minute break, if you don't mind.
Sounds good.
Thanks. Okay, we're back with Bix Weir, and we're continuing our discussion on the metals, gold, and silver markets. The next set of questions is from RTG.
Hello, Bix. This is RTG. Bix, my line of questions zeroes in on the London OTC gold market. Okay? So, you've previously stated, and it's been stated on the GATA website, as well as in congressional testimony by former Goldman Sachs analyst Jeffrey Christian, that the amount of gold bullion trading volumes exceeds the registered bars in the depositories by a factor of over 100 to 1, and that the current system does in fact operate on a razor-thin fractional reserve basis. Now, if any large bullion investor were to actually demand physical bullion, such action could quickly lead to a breaking of the bank that sold the bullion, as well as a run on the entire paper gold system. Okay, now further, gold availability in London has recently been observed to be so tight that the LPMCL, that's London Precious Metals Clearing Limited, has actually been caught red-handed by GATA's Adrian Douglas, assigning multiple CUSIP numbers to the same bullion bar. Well, now, given all these observations, in your opinion, how much longer can the LBMA maintain this current charade they're calling a bullion market?
Well, they've maintained it for 30 years, 40 years, and it's always been like that. The short answer is that if you look at the London bullion market, it's a closed system market where you have your participants trading back and forth. Theoretically, they call it a physical market, but in reality, the amount of silver and gold that trades there on a daily basis, on a weekly basis is massively more than what is available and what is mined every year. But this is it's come to light since the Jeffrey Christian, the CFTC meeting where Christian said that. David Morgan wrote about it years ago. I've written about it years ago. The reality of gold and silver is that the physical side of the gold and silver market is tiny. It is minuscule. So when you look back at all those years of trading over the past 30 years,